All right, here it is, a Will It Run video. I've got this new Holland skid steer. And if you notice something, it's missing a little something out of it, the engine. It'll run by the end of the video, but rod pad on the list, fan blade. Let's pull this oil pan off. I think he said he's had the oil pan off. I need to find a bucket for all the bolts. These bolts look crusty like original crust. Give it to Will Smith. Man, Will Smith, where are you when I need you? Yep, it ain't gonna Will Smith today. Give it the old screwdriver. Yeah, no one's been in here. The Will Smith didn't work. We'll give it the old screwdriver. In the corner. Did you miss one, Mike? I think I missed one. All right. Woo. Yeah, there's shade. Well, there's dirt in there. Yeah, we got some problems. That doesn't look good. All right. I want to get this pulled apart and order some parts. I don't see any rust. Yeah, I see some rust there. This engine might need a rebuild. See some rust on the pistons. Can you see that? Yeah, I think I gotta remove that oil line. There's that. Little evidence there. Blown head gasket got water in it. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows these things? A little crusty. It's all the bolts. I'm gonna put that stuff with the intake. There we go. Put all this together so we know. Intake. Air intake. I didn't see any holes. Good. Nothing remarkable about this. Some dirt. Dang. This thing's thrashed. Dirty. Just junk everywhere. Now we're going to loosen these evenly. Obviously it's locked up. You don't get an opportunity to go to top dead center. This one's probably the worst for the wear. A little bit of play, but goes back in there. Pressure fed, pressure from the oil pump comes through here. Looks like. There's that. Should I keep these in order? No, I'm not going to. Probably should. I need one of those. That might be bent. We'll dial these in on a flat block and make sure they're all good. Got all of them. That one's a little bent too. We may have to get a few of those. That's what a bent rod looks like. That rod. I don't even know what that called. Put down in the comments what that is. I don't know. But pushing the jiggers, that's what that is. Alright, now the injectors are off, except for a couple little lines. The water pump we don't need to do. We need to take that off. Don't lose these. One, two, three, four, five, six. I got six. Seven. We don't want to lose those. Outside the end is all I'm doing. I'm probably pretty close to the sequence. Okay. I think that's all of them. Let's pull more out. We'll set these injectors off to the side so we don't get them dinged up. Alright. The great reveal. Everyone wants to see this. Make sure you're on. The great reveal. Well, there's your problem. Got some dirt in there. Dude, this is horrible. I don't know if we'll be able to save this. You got a little pitting there. we'll hone it down. I don't know if we'll be able to save that. I don't think those are sleeved. The fuel rail, maybe if I slide that fuel rail out, I can get it. That thing froze. Don't tell me that thing's froze. It should slide out, right? That's a slide. I've had these pumps out before. I think they're a common pump. I put some penetrating oil in there. There it goes. It should slide. That one's froze. Now we'll have to pull this apart. Oh, and these shims are what times it. So keep your shims. They time the engine. I think this just pulls out, right? Let's see if I can get, oops, if I can get that gear out. Yep. It's an oil pump. And timing gear. Alright. They all look pretty good. Nothing remarkable. Piece of metal. Alright, looking at that camshaft. There's two bolts right there and right there. There's no end play in that thing, so that's good. There is a hole, I don't know. Let's pull this other, well, let's pull those bolts out and see where it goes, see if that pulls out. I really don't know. I could read the manual, but just figure it out. Let's see what this does. See if I can pull it out. Looks like it's a shim or a keeper. Yeah, a keeper. No, that didn't do it. Alright, that didn't do anything. Let's pull it. Turn it around here. Put this out. Pull this plate out. And see what's behind that door. Right on the wood. What do we got here? That ain't nothing. That didn't do anything. There's just a cap there. Alright. I might need a camshaft bearing. That feels a little crusty. The camshaft lobes look fine. They aren't worn. Put some forward transmission fluid in there. So if it doesn't work, I guess I'll go buy some Subaru. Perkins, this is Perkins diesel. Go buy some Perkins diesel fluid, and then I'll free them up. Oh, I broke it. Crap. Something's got to give. Can you see down in there? I'm putting it on the side of the, right there, on the piston. I don't know if I recorded that. I just pressed that crankshaft out. It's press fitted. There's some bolts, 5 bolts. Whoops. There we go. Gotta get a screwdriver like that. One side. And this one. And one side. Bearings look pretty all right. There's no copper showing. I'm putting new bearings on, but by the way. I think it goes like that. All the numbers on one side and the negatives on one side, and then this will go here. And then I got to figure out what the numbers go. I'll look on these to see how the numbers go on the other ones. Alright, I'm working on the injector. These little nozzles should slide up and down like that. I'm having to, they're stuck. So I'm having to pull the injector apart. I got this freed up though. Pretty good. Just pulled it apart, and then that, I'm having to tap these out. Oops. hopefully without dropping them and putting any burrs in them. And then I'm just cleaning them up with brake cleaner. And then they slide right back. I think that the numbers line up there with that notch. Press the old bearings out here. They come out easy. It's not like a hard job. And they go in easy. Line up the new hole. Do the old over the top move. That Sylvester Stallone made famous. And give it the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 treatment. Till she starts. And then press it in there. Not that hard. We'll go check it, check the fit. And it's a tight fit, which is good. And it doesn't fit, which is not good. And that's tight, it's probably too tight, whatever. We're gonna roll with it. That's probably a little too tight, but the other one's fit better. Mike's Machine Shop did a real good job on the block. Took him about a month to get it done. He sleeved it. I don't know if you can see it. Shots. See where we're at. Put it down in the bore a little bit. And 0.2. There's 0.2. There's the minimum. So it won't fit in there. Give her another shot. Give it the wipe down. You get the idea. Trying to go for about 0.25. Let me go 0.2. No. Wow, 0.2 won't fit in there at all now. Down lower. Barely. Yeah, Mike's Machine Shop did me good. $550 to re-sleeve this thing, which I thought was a good price. Can you see? 0.2. Almost fits in there. A little more. You don't want to go too much. 0.2. Yeah, there we go. 0.2 fits in there nice. A little bit loose. That's the minimum. 0.25. Barely fits in there. So you get the idea. Let's shove this down a little more. Whoops. Make sure. You get the idea. You got to do it for all the rings. And then I'll leave them in there. And then when I assemble it, I'll pull them out, put them on the piston. One thing I'm finding with these new pistons, look how easily that slides. This part should be froze up and it only should spin. This should be what is spinning. So what I'm doing on these new pistons is I'm taking a punch and right around the outside I'm going around and deforming this metal. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I don't want this pin spinning in the piston. If that happens, then this is going to wear out really quick. So now, see how that goes in there? Now I got to hammer this down into this, and it'll lock that in place where it won't spin. Tell me if that's a good idea, but normally you would want to heat this up and have this a friction fit, but they machined it too good, too loose. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I think I got everything sealed up good. 8.2 quarts. So I'll put this 2 gallons. Zinc. All right, let's see if it'll start. I got oil in it. Looky there, hey. That thing's wanting to start. All right. We've got fuel in there. Can you see that fuel? Yeah, we got fuel in there. All right. I don't want to get the starter too hot. Sounds good. I think it ran out of fuel. One thing I've noticed about this skid steer is the tracks. If you look here, they aren't hooked up. Neither track is hooked up. See those 2 fittings? They go to, I don't know if you can see it in there, and they aren't the right fittings. There's a flat face O-ring connector on the pump and the fittings are JIC. So someone has swapped out these tracks. Here's what I'm talking about. I already put 1 connector on, but there's 3 connectors here that are JIC that go to the motor, and then there's these for the 2-speed. I would really like to hook it up, and then there's that leaky. I pulled the injector pump out. This broke off. Those bolts, I think just the high speed broke those off. I hope that's all it broke. I got a leak in the fuel tank right under there. I got to fix, and then I got to pull that block off, that valve body off, and I'll fix that. See if I can fix it. Alright, I think what's happening is the fuel, I pulled the governor plate off. It looked like everything was put together all right there. I thought maybe it wasn't, but I think it was. And then I have this. I pulled it off. I noticed it was sticky right here, so I took some 1500 grit and polish that up good, and then I'm going to polish this up a little more and then work it. I feel like there's a little bit of stick left right there. It can kind of catch, but I'll polish that up and work it back and forth to make sure it doesn't catch or bind, and the fuel shutoff will shut off. Oh, one other thing, that fuel shutoff solenoid had a slight bend to it, so I bent it back best I could by eyeball. I'll show you. I think those fixes will fix the running problem. Let's look. If you look at it now, I think it's maybe a slight bend to it. I just chucked it in the vise and bent it. It had a slight bend to it, so it still moves freely. So I torch these off. I guess I haven't had a problem with it before. I don't know. But that thing's heavy. Let's see where it's leaking. I know it's hard to tell, but with this valve body has a leak in it somewhere. So I don't know. Couple things. Till I get a fan, I balanced it. I just cut that off. This broke, these bolts, so I fought those. I'm just trying to get some of those pits off, filled in. The sealing surface is back in here, right in there. This is just a ring. I'll show you. Alright, what I did was I bought this scrap piece on eBay. It had, these won't come out, so I'm not going to use it. These are so much better, these rods. Now the sealing surface, if you look, it sits like that. The sealing surface is back here. So this part that I put the JB weld on is just for this ring right there. There's an O-ring, backup O-ring in there about an inch. So about an inch, if you can see, there's an O-ring in there. That's what seals it. This just keeps the dirt out. So that's what I'm doing. And then I bought this part for these cups, and I'm just putting them all in. 867 hours on this body. That's a cold start. It's cold out. One thing I don't like about the way they put this oil setup in, they put the filter on its side and it all drains out. So the oil filter's got to get full. That's one thing I noticed about this engine. Not a good design. I didn't center it up very good. Let me pull it forward. Maybe don't show off for YouTube. The skid steer works and runs good. Couple things: the temperature gauge doesn't work and the oil temperature gauge doesn't work. I like it. I think it's going to be a good machine. I had a lot of problems. It's 6 months later and I've been working on this thing. But all in all, I'm glad I bought it. It's got 856 hours on the frame. The tracks weren't, who knows how many hours the tracks have on it. Who knows the story on this thing. Probably a parts machine, and they just threw parts together, but the tracks seemed to work fine, which was what I was worried about after I got the engine rebuilt. The 2-speed doesn't work. I might look into that, I might not, I don't know. It'd be nice to move at 7 miles per hour, but it moves fast enough. This is a hand and foot control machine. I can show you the foot controls. One thing I like about these foot controls, ergonomically they're better. They're better than the Bobcat. The Bobcat, I have problems running the tilt on the bucket because of my size and feet. With the hand and foot controls, it's directly linked to the valve. So you have the pump, goes to the valve, goes to the attach